Welcome back to NBA Cinema. So, Stephen A. Smith and Bill Maher, they had a segment talking about Bronny James, and really Bronny catching some of the blame for not going to the G League himself. He not ready. Um, Bill Maher's been going in on this for a long time, and you could go all the way back to the McDonald's All American game where Bronny was selected. You saw the politics at play at that level. Although Bronny did decent in that game, and at that level, guys are just kind of playing in an all-star type of game. So Bronny, he has the athleticism and everything. You can get out in the open court. You can make a few plays. And I think he could have been a fine player at USC. Again, I said the process got accelerated when he had his health scare, and Bron pushed for him to hurry up and get to the league. I thought he was going to potentially go play for Drew Joyce at Duquesne. That did not happen. And, now we're here. And so people are saying nepotism, LeBron doing what any dad would do. Yeah, but it's also taking an opportunity from someone. We're gonna look at this though. I'm gonna stop it and react at different times. I think I done talked about it ad nauseum on different videos, but we're gonna stop it and critique their critiques. Let's pick.
I guess this is, because I live in LA and I see this sort of world of Nepo babies and
Right.
trust fund kids when you're out.
Right.
That they work.
I loved your new rules on Nepo babies, by the way. That was fantastic.
That's because that was about
Give you a
sports.
pound on that one.
And
that was special. That was nice.
Thank you.
You did a great job on that.
I love that one.
Yeah.
That started here in a conversation with Bob Costas. And Bronny James is the one who fucked it up.
Yeah.
Because the point of it, for people who didn't see it, is that sports, the last place where you can have trust that it's not Nepo babies, like everything else, even modeling now, Nepo babies. But certainly politics always was, show business is rife with them. Everything is Nepo babies except sports. You could always count on the fact that the best, the 600 players in the NBA were the best in the world, not just in America. And Bronny James is not one of the 600 best players.
So I'm going to push back on that just a tad. We've seen nepotism play a part in sports. You look at John Stockton's son being on the Utah Jazz roster at any point. That was a nepotism thing for sure. Him having his influence and different things like that. But, he had a full college career and was a solid player. So he could look more the part than Bronny in his limited action. So I want to say it exists. What you want to do when you do pull strings for people in your family, because you do. Like, if you have the influence and somebody is ready, I have no problem with you maybe advocating for them if they're just a tad bit better than somebody, or they're like right on the level with other people competing for a position. The problem is Bronny doesn't belong at all on the floor at this point. And I think, that's the difference. But I'll say nepotism has played a part in sports at times for sure. Let's continue.
First of all, I agree with you. Let me tell you what the real problem was with the whole Bronny James things. And I love this kid, and I love his
not against him.
Not against him. His mama, listen, LeBron James is one of the top 2 players in the history of basketball. He's on the Mount Rushmore of basketball. He's absolutely amazing, okay? And a good dude as well.
Yeah.
Let me explain where they messed up about Bronny. LeBron James has done so much for this league. Him wanting the moment of being in an NBA game with his son is not the crime. Here's what the crime was, Bill. You have that moment on opening night. At that moment, Bronny James, you know you belong in the G League. Go to the G League.
Right.
Okay, what Stephen A is saying is he got some truth in what he's saying, right? If you want that moment with your son, do it on opening night. Bronny, you go to the G League. The issue at hand that most people take exception to is the $7.9 million guaranteed dollars. And you got a Quincy Olivari, somebody like that could change his life. that could completely change his life. He don't come from a family of NBA players that just got it like that. You know what I'm saying? That 7.9 million will mean more to him than it would mean for Bronny. Bronny could have got that in NIL at USC this year. If he stayed in college or wherever he would have went to college at, he could have got that in NIL. So I think the issue, the crime actually, is the money. Him taking the money. Like if Bronny was on a G League standard deal and got called up for that moment and then went back to the G League, then what Stephen A. Smith is saying would be 100% accurate. And maybe he wasn't considering that at the time. I'm just thinking the guaranteed 7.9 million when it could have went to Quincy Olivari is what everybody is talking about. Let's continue.
Right.
You know why you here? Listen, this was important to my dad. My dad is phenomenal. He's done so much to the game.
Right.
And the one thing that he dreamed of having was me on a basketball court for an NBA game with him. Ladies and gentlemen, now that I got this moment, it's time for me to go and earn my stripes. I didn't earn it at USC because I wasn't there long enough, right? I'm a high school All-American averaging 14 points a game, all right, which is better than most of us, by the way, but still, high school All-Americans usually are doing more than that. All Bronny James had to do, and I understand that that's a lot to put on a kid that's 19 years old or so, but all Bronny James had to do was say, now it's time for me to go to the G League, y'all.
Yeah.
I got to earn my stripes. Then a Bill Maher and others can't come out and say what they said.
So I get what Stephen A. Smith is saying, go earn your stripes in the G League and all that. But the problem with that is LeBron is driving the car by himself. He's making all these decisions. Don't be fooled by LeBron saying in his post-game interview the other day, or practice interview, was one of them where he said, go ask Bronny, he's a grown man. When Bronny's not available for the media or when he goes missing, this is all done by LeBron. LeBron is running point guard, orchestrating this whole thing. So he'll tell the media one thing and he'll do a totally different other one behind the scenes. And he don't have to disclose that to us. But let's not be crazy and think like LeBron is telling them the whole time, like, no, you can't play. Yeah, you can play. Call them up, send them down. All that is getting ran by LeBron, period. We know that. I mean, why ain't nobody saying the elephant in the room that LeBron is running all this behind the scenes? Let's continue.
But because he was soaking it all in, right? And one game after another, you're traveling with the team, you're in uniform, and you're taking up one of those roster spots. Now it brings into question the meritocracy and what was religiously associated with the NBA, which is why your point was not only on point because factually you were correct, but your timing was impeccable.
Nice.
See, you didn't wait. It wasn't like 6 months later or anything. No, you were right there, week one. Like, wait a minute, y'all. Wait a minute now. Let's stop acting like,
I did
and you
that
were right.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, before that, I even said in the piece, it's funny, I even said in the piece, everybody wants to see Bronny James in the league with his father.
So you spoke about Bronny James 2 years ago.
2 years
I didn't know that, Bill. I didn't know that.
That's when I did that piece. And I said, everyone wants to see it, but he won't make it unless he's good enough. And then they fuck that up. And I even mentioned Doc Rivers' kid plays, but not because he's Doc Rivers' kid.
But Austin Rivers,
because he's good enough to
he's
play
good enough
in
to
the
be on an NBA.
league.
Austin Rivers was good enough to be on an NBA roster,
Absolutely.
especially defensively.
Yes.
And coming out of Duke, playing at Duke, and being drafted, he earned no stripes.
No, he was an NBA player.
He
not
was an
a
NBA
superstar,
player.
but an NBA player.
Yes, he was.
Stephen A., you may have lost a little bit of credibility there, sir. You said Austin Rivers was good on defense. Now, that's crazy. That takes away from your other points. He was good enough to play in the NBA. Yes, you can make a case for him being there. More than Bronny for sure. But, come on, man. He was good on defense. Defensively, that's where they wanted him. He was Matisse Thybulle when he was at Washington. Cut it out, man. He's not there for defense. He was there because they thought he would be a good offensive player at the next level, but most of it was isolation and breakdown. But he was tremendously right-handed, and his athleticism wasn't top notch for that position um, at the professional level. He was one dimensional scorer. So there you have it. But in the case of Bronny James, as far as him just going down to the G League, like I said, he didn't run that. Stephen A. Smith talked about him holding up the roster spot, that's what I was saying he should have said earlier. But the roster spot is not only it ain't like they just showing favoritism pulling him out the G League over everybody else. They've given him a contract that the guys, in the G League long for. And unfortunately, they landed with a Lakers organization where strings are being pulled behind the scenes that is the worst nepotism we've seen. And on top of that, this is one of the most well-off black families, in the States right now, in sports. So LeBron, man, I think that's the thing. Like people have an issue with Bron and Bronny. Again, Bronny's a grown man, so yes, he can make some decisions, but putting that on Bronny, I mean, yes, he can speak up as a man. But when you 16, you 17, you 18, 19, your daddy just been making the decisions the whole time. You haven't got that experience. He ain't never been put out there. He ain't never had to worry about paying for nothing. He ain't had to make a difficult decision about, I'm gonna pay this and this might fall behind, but or just being out there and making decisions as a man. I'm trying to just put it the best way I can for a possible scenario he could have. Only thing he probably had to worry about is, what Ferrari he's gonna take out, and what him and his girlfriend, the lady from Low Down Dirty Shame, Sally Richardson, what him and her daughter's gonna eat. That's the kind of decisions he's making. But he hasn't had to make no real man decisions yet. And so if your daddy just been doing that for you the whole time, he's not gonna look at it like we looking at it, like you're a grown man, it's time for you to make a decision. Not yet. I mean, he'll break out of that shell, but at this point he's still what? 18, 19, 20, 19, 20, somewhere around there. So, he's still just a kid. He's daddy always had me, so he ain't pressed to make no decision about it. But I agree, he does need to go down there and try to get better. I think that would be best for him. But also, you can, like I said, you can get exposed at that level. You're going to play some NBA level guards uh, down at that level. And, if you ain't ready, they just going to exploit you. They're going to exploit you. They're going to attack you like the defenses was attacking you at the NBA level. Some of those guards are really gifted. This is why you see the G League All-Stars beat Team USA, that team that had Donovan Mitchell and those guys, and they beat them in that scrimmage. Because the guards are elite. So if the NBA don't have like a ton of elite bigs right now like that, that's American born. So you put them in a game, you put Donovan Mitchell in a game with one of the better scoring guards in the G League, and they up there playing as a team, playing together and all that, you can get the results that you got back then. And these are the type of talents that Bronny's facing, is what I'm saying. So um, yeah, man. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Till next time. Peace.